Hi there, travel lovers. This is your trusted cruise and Tauck tour expert Shawn Power here. What I want to talk about today is the world of cruising. Cruising is just a huge industry. Personally, I've been on almost 100 cruises myself. When it comes to my clients, I've booked somewhere around $75 million worth of cruises for them. All my family and friends cruise. So cruising is a super popular way to travel. But for those who are new to the industry, or maybe they haven't done a lot of cruises, or maybe they've only tried one type of cruise, it can be very overwhelming when it comes to all the choices out there. So what I wanted to do today is break down, we'll call the categories, the different types of cruising, and talk about what all those are about. So when I break it down, I usually like to break into three categories. There's ocean cruises. There's also expedition cruises, which are much smaller. They go to places like Antarctica, Galapagos, those areas. And then there's also river cruises, which is a whole nother world on its own. So, expedition cruises, river cruises, maybe I'll talk about in another video down the road. But today, why don't we talk about ocean cruises? Because even when you look at ocean cruises, there's a few different categories. And this is where a lot of people get confused who cruise for the first time because, they probably saw the ads on TV for Carnival or Royal Caribbean or Norwegian or Disney or whoever, all these big ship mainstream lines. But they don't even realize, so many people I've talked to don't realize that there's a lot of small ship luxury options out there, that there's a whole bunch of different choices that they can a whole bunch of different options they can go on when they sail. And it's not about just traveling with thousands of people. I mean, you can travel with hundreds of people. You can have huge rooms, amazing dining, celebrity chefs, who have restaurants on board, and everything in between. So let's see if we can break down the ocean cruise industry a little bit, and hopefully it'll help you decide what kind of cruise you want to take when you get out and you sail on the seven seas yourself. So why don't we start at, let's start with the excuse me, we'll call it the highest rated, top quality lines, and we'll kind of work our way backwards. So first off, the way I categorize it, and again, I've got a lot of experience, almost 100 personal cruises, $75 million or so in sales of booking cruises for my clients. So I've seen it all. I've tried it all. So this is the way I break it down, and hopefully it helps you, make some decisions yourself. So first off, you've got what we'll call small ship luxury all-inclusive cruises. Now, these are what I call the cream of the crop, as good as it gets. There's pretty much five companies who fall into that category. You've got Regent, you've got Explora, Explorer Journeys, if you want to be, technical about it, is the name of them. You've got Silver Sea, you've got Seabourn, and you've got Crystal. Now, these companies basically, when you look at the size of them, most of these ships are like 600, 700, up to 900 people on board. Seabourn and Silver Sea have some smaller expedition ships, have a couple hundred people on board, but their main ships, we'll call it, 6, 7, 8, 900 people on board. Now, these are the ships where basically it's all included. All the drinks are included on board, including alcohol. All the tips are included for the staff. You're not getting charged $20 a day that you're on the big ships. They're going to include Wi-Fi accounts. You're not paying $30, $35 a day for these. They're going to include specialty dining. I was on one of the big ships, not that long ago, and spent like over $800 in specialty dining. So you can spend a lot of money on cruises when you don't go on an all-inclusive ship like this. Probably the only exception, I think, like Silver Sea might have two specialty dinings where they charge a nominal fee. But beyond that, with all these lines I'm mentioning, it's just all included. Like I said, tips, drinks, Wi-Fi. They're not charging for yoga classes. They're not charging for Pilates classes. They're not charging for a bottle of water and all these things. So that's one of the highlights, is that they're all inclusive. Now, the other thing is that they usually have really big rooms. When you go on a normal ocean cruise, you can get a room that might be 140, 150 square feet. It might be an inside room. There's no window. You turn off the lights. It's pitch black. You don't know if it's day or night out. Or you might have a room with just a window that doesn't open. So again, you can't step out onto your private balcony and sit down and get the ocean breeze. So that's how it works with a lot of cruises. But again, with these small ship, all-inclusive luxury lines, most of them, for the majority of the rooms on these ships, are just balconies, veranda rooms. Now, with that said, there's some older ships out there, like Crystal, for example, has two older ships. They still do have ocean view rooms. But their new ships that are coming out within the next few years are going to be all balconies. Who else? I think Silver Sea and Seabourn might have some ocean view rooms on their older ships. But as these new ships come out, they all are pretty much all balconies, all verandas. And when it comes to size, and again, the new ships especially, they're building them 300, 350, 370, 300, or 400 square feet and bigger, almost starting rooms. So again, they make bigger rooms and mostly verandas, and especially the new ships, they're pretty much all that. So the point is that you don't need to be like, oh, do I want to spend more money to get an inside room, or do I want to spend more money, or sorry, to get away from an inside room, or do I want to upgrade to a bigger room? Point being, with these small ship rooms, if you can afford the starting price, usually it's going to be a nice room. There are some exceptions, so again, whether you're booking through me or your own travel agent, make sure we talk about it. But for the most part, the general rule is it's going to be a great room even at their starting price. um, so this is how these luxury lines work. All inclusive, bigger rooms. And then what a lot of my clients really like is that there's just not a lot of people on board. You might have a ship that can fit, say, 900 people or 700 people, but if you gave that ship to a big ship line like a Royal Caribbean or a Carnival, they probably have 2,000 people or more on board. Again, because they make smaller rooms, so they jam a lot more people on that ship. So it's going to feel very crowded. You go on these lines, though, and because the rooms are much bigger, but they still build public space accordingly, things really spread out. So you never feel crowded. There's not huge lineups at the buffet. It's not impossible to go to the pool and get a chair or a cabana or whatnot. These things are just, there for the taking. You're not going to be drove crazy feeling like you're being herded around. So there's a lot of benefits to these, small ship luxury all-inclusive lines. Now, if we take it down a step, next we have what I call the upper premium cruise lines. So they're not as all-inclusive as the luxury lines I just talked about, and they're definitely not like the big ships with thousands and thousands on board, because they're still pretty small ships. So let me give you some examples. The companies that fit in there, in my opinion, are going to be Oceania and Viking Ocean Cruises. Azamara also fit in there for a long time. I'm not a fan of them anymore. I'm not going to get into why in this video. We can certainly talk about it. You contact me or whatnot. Maybe I'll even, do another video. But it's just that their ships are a lot older. They're kind of not keeping up with the other guys. I just don't think it's going to be a great value for you, compared to all these great new ships that Oceania and Viking has. So let's just talk about Oceania and Viking. These ships are pretty much going to have anywhere from 900 to 1,250 people on board. So again, very small. They're not 3, 4, 5, 6,000 like the big ships. Also, nice size rooms. They're not going to be as big as the luxury small ship ones, but still very, very nice. Usually they start at around 270, 280 square feet. Again, newer ships is kind of what I'm talking about. Oceania has some older ships with some inside rooms and some ocean views. They're starting to kind of sell them off, which is great because we want the newer ships with the bigger rooms and the more consistency, when it comes to, having a lot of space and, that kind of thing. So all the Viking ships are new because they're only, 10-year-old company when it comes to ocean cruises. Oceania has a combination. 90+% of my clients go on their newer ships. Again, that's something we can chat about in a private conversation, what ship you're interested in. But again, usually somewhere between 900 to 1,250. They include a lot of stuff compared to the big ships, but they may not include everything. For example, Viking doesn't include gratuities, and they don't include all alcohol. They only include wine, beer, and soft drinks at lunch and dinner. Oceania includes all non-alcohol, but they don't include any alcohol. At the same time, they do include gratuities. But if you book at the right time, sometimes you might get a promo where maybe Oceania does include a dining package, or maybe Viking includes gratuities. So again, that's things that, again, we'll talk about if you're looking to book a cruise or talk with your own travel agent about. But, for the most part, they're not all inclusive like the other guys, but they're very inclusive and close to it. Now, again, almost no crowds on these ships. And by the way, whether it's the small ship luxury lines or these guys, there's almost no kids. Viking, for example, doesn't even allow kids. You've got to be 18 or over. Everyone else does, but because of the price points and because they don't have the rock climbing walls and the water slides and stuff, not a lot of families go on them. I mean, I've been on all these lines again and again and again. You might see a few kids here and there, but if you'd rather be on a vacation where you don't have kids overtaking the pool, yelling, screaming, that kind of thing, the upper premium and the small ship luxury all-inclusive lines may be for you. So again, really high quality, whether you go on the upper premium like Oceania and Viking, or on the luxury guys like Regent, Explorer, Silver Sea, Seabourn, and Crystal. So that kind of covers what we'll call the best of the best. Again, upper premium, not 100% all inclusive, whereas the upper, or sorry, the small ship luxury all inclusive lines are. Now, If we back it up a bit more and we kind of go down, now we're into the big ship mainstream lines. And this is what almost everyone knows: Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Holland America, Princess, Celebrity. Most people who do a cruise for the first time end up on one of these because it's just what you know, it's what you hear about. Even me 20 plus years ago, my first cruise was on Royal Caribbean. So it's very common. And then a lot of people over time, they say, I want less people on board. I want more inclusions. They'll upgrade. And then, one day they end up on the small ships and never want to go back because, there are a lot of benefits. But when you go on these big ships, there's, usually 3,000 people minimum on board. Some of these ships have literally turned into cities where there's like 7,000 to 8,000 people on board. When you add in the staff, over 10,000 people. They're just absolutely huge. I know my personal clients, 95+% of them have no interest at all. Again, it's not like they're not nice quality companies, but there's just too many people to spend, especially since COVID. People want more exclusive. They don't want to be around the crowds, and they really want inclusive. They don't want to be nickel and dime on board. They don't want to have to pay $20 a day for tips. They don't want to have to pay $35 a day for Wi-Fi. They don't want to pay, 7, 8, 9, $10 for a beer, or $5 for a water, $5 for a Coke. They don't want to pay $15 for a glass of wine, $20 for a martini, because all of a sudden you do that and you go on these cruises and you can have a huge bill at the end. So again, a lot of my clients just don't want that. They just want to have everything included up front. They want to know their price. And more importantly, they don't want to think about it when they're traveling. Who wants to worry about, should I have that, second glass of wine, third glass of wine? Or maybe you sit down with a couple, you meet some new people and you're thinking to yourself, do I buy a bottle of wine and share it with the table? Do I offer to buy them a drink at the bar? All those things go away when everything's included. So like I said, a lot of my clients just don't want these big ships. And also on the big ships, they sell, 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 sell. So what I mean by that is you get on board and they're trying to get you to buy the drink packages. They're trying to get you to go to the specialty restaurants, which are so expensive. I mean, like I said, I was on one, not that long ago and spent over $800 for the specialty dining. It was just unbelievable how much we spent. They're trying to get you to buy yoga classes, Pilates classes. They're trying to get you, I mean, you name it, they're just trying to get you to spend more and more money. So the whole trip you're being sold to the whole time. It feels almost like a timeshare or something like that. So again, the big ship mainstream lines have their place if you just don't have the budget for the other guys. But if you are looking for a quality trip, skip the mainstreams. Again, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Princess, Holland America, Celebrity, and look at the upper premium lines like Viking or Oceania, or if you want to the best of the best, go ahead and look at Regent, Explorer, Silversea, Seabourn, and Crystal. So hopefully that gave you a bit of a rundown about how the ocean cruise industry works. Again, that's just one segment of cruising. As I mentioned earlier, there's also expedition cruising, which are some of the smaller ships out there going to places like the Arctic, Antarctica, Galapagos, and then you got river cruises. So again, I'll try to cover those in another video down the road. And then I also did write a big post about all this on my website. So I will put the link below if you want to kind of go a bit more thoroughly through that. Look for that link and check out a little bit more information on the different categories and types of cruises out there. And beyond that, any questions, leave me a comment or contact me on my website, and I'd be happy to help walk you through it to help you figure out the next best cruise for you. All right, nice chatting with you again today. Looking forward to talking to you in the next video.